Quake 4 is on the way. Whatever rough edges existed have been smoothed, and Todd Hollinshead is here to take us on a guided tour of its glorious hell. Todd, it's always a pleasure to get to talk to you.
Good to see you again, Adam.
So, Quake 4, let's just, it's going to come to the Xbox 360.
Yeah, it's one of the great things about the 360 that's different than what we've ever had with a console before is that the art assets, all the media, go straight over from the PC. So there's no dilution of any of the quality. And also, we have it in development at Raven, both SKUs, PC and 360 simultaneously, so they're right there lockstep, one with another.
Now, you had to do some changes to Doom 3, not just the graphical changes to Doom 3 on the Xbox, but you had to sort of widen and shorten hallways. Will some of those changes also be in the Xbox 360 version?
Yeah, you know, we've done some different things for Quake 4 to really differentiate the gameplay just from the technology. So in Quake 4, you fight alongside members of your squad with team AI. You got some outdoor areas. You get to use vehicles like a walker or a hover tank. So a lot of different variety in terms of how you go through the environments.
So how does Quake 4 fit into the Quake storyline? There really hasn't been a story since Quake 2, but I mean, how does it fit into it?
Yeah, good question. You know, Quake, I think, was probably known for bringing sort of first-person games to the internet and multiplayer. Quake 2 was the best-selling of all the three Quakes, and Quake 3, of course, was totally focused on multiplayer. With Quake 4, we went back to the single-player fiction and storyline from Quake 2, which we thought was the best single-player of all the Quakes. But we weren't going to stop there because, you know, we just it wouldn't be Quake without a killer multiplayer component. So we felt that Quake 3 was the best multiplayer of all the Quakes, and so we're taking the best on the multiplayer side, the best on the single-player side, bringing those together, and our ambition is to make it the best Quake of all of them.
So is the split, say, between the concentration on the game from single-player to multiplayer, is it 50-50? How would you kind of break it down?
Well, you know, the focus primarily has been on the single-player and making that, you know, really an in-depth story-driven gameplay with a lot of variety. As I said, you know, part of the time indoors, part of the time outdoors, part of the time by yourself, part of the time with squad mates. The big plot twist in the game is that you actually become partially strogified midway through the game. That changes everything up, so it adds completely dynamic. So that's been a lot of focus. Really, the multiplayer emphasis has only become recently. You know, we've been the first to test it back at the office as it did, and I can say for a fact that it absolutely kicks ass.
Now, is it, obviously Doom 3 was primarily single player, there's such a strong single player in Quake 4. Is it sort of focusing more on single player now? I'm seeing a lot more strong single player games coming out on the PC. Are you guys with that mindset as well?
Well, you know, we actually a lot of our input into Quake 4 was on the single-player side, but we definitely gave some direction to Raven is that we want to make sure that we don't just stop with what we were on Doom 3 from the multiplayer side. We weren't satisfied with that. We want to bring for Quake 4 a really enriched multiplayer experience, and so those guys spent a lot of time on the technology, making the network code optimized, taking all the ancillary stuff out, so it's just sort of a pure shooting, moving, you know, all the true pure skill aspects of multiplayer. Now, you know, what we're working on another project, actually with a developer in the UK called Splash Damage, is a pure multiplayer game called Enemy Territory Quake Wars.
All right. Well, I think obviously that's very interesting and very exciting. One quick question: will there be flashlights in Quake 4?
Absolutely, there will be flashlights in Quake 4, and in fact, you start off with one.
All right, maybe some duct tape too. Thank you so much, Todd. You are a scary, scary man.